Hello, everyone. I'm Wizzy, your host. And if you're new to our corner of the internet, a warm welcome to Isabella Bank's YouTube channel. Here, we dive headfirst into the latest happenings revolving around Prince Harry and Duchess Meghan. So please, make yourself at home and let's chat. Of course, it's become somewhat of a tradition now. Prince Harry and Meghan are once again facing the music for their take on the Israel-Hamas conflict. But before we explore what transpired, if you're a new subscriber, do consider subscribing to our channel. It's fun over here. Give us a thumbs up, share the video, ring that notification to stay updated. And for our returning subscribers, welcome back. Please show your support by liking and enabling notifications. Okay, now that all protocols have been observed, let's dive in. When news broke of the Israel Hamas conflict, Prince Harry, Meghan, Prince William, and Kate, along with the rest of the world, expressed their distress over the events occurring in Gaza. The issues surrounding this conflict are indeed intricate, as are the positions of various parties involved. This has not been more evident than as seen in these two statements put out by the two princes. In Prince Harry and Meghan's statement, they came up swinging against all acts of terrorism and brutality. They made it clear that they were backing their partners and organizations on the front lines in Israel, doing the superhero work of providing much needed aid and helping innocent victims stuck in this real life nightmare. Now, when I read their statement, I thought it was very on point, very apropos, as the fancy folks will say. And like one Twitter comment wisely pointed out, it was as about neutral and unpolitical as the statement can get in the wild world of terrorism and brutality. Another tweet, a quick one liner said, "Thank you, Harry and Meghan. All acts of terrorism means all acts of terrorism." You'd think that it would be the end of it, right? Well, think again. It's Harry and Meghan we're talking about after all. As I scrolled down the Twitter rabbit hole, I stumbled upon folks who said, "I'm 200% behind them, but they should have stayed out of this one." I thought, hmm? And another Twitter voice chimed in, "How I wish people would read to understand, not to respond. It is disappointing to see us supporters crucifying Harry and Meghan for something they did not say. I understand this is a critical slash personal topic for many, but one thing we can't do is to put words in their mouth." And I thought, right. To say this was a hot debate would be an understatement, as we had squaddies turning on each other. I spotted a comment suggesting that the Sussexes should have sat this one out, blaming Harry's ancestors for the Israel conflict. I thought, what have the ancestors got to do with this one? But hang on, why did they say that in the first place? Well, that comment got my Sherlock senses tingling. So I dived headfirst into the thread rabbit hole to see why someone would say such a thing. And you won't believe what Twitter delivered. A little gem of a summary explaining Britain's role in the Israel Palestine conflict. This, as a matter of fact, is what inspired this video. Otherwise, I was just going to walk gently past this issue as it seemed too sensitive to even discuss casually. In light of what I have discovered, it's almost ironic that Prince William is on a peace mission in the Middle East. But hey, that's a whole nother Netflix series waiting to happen. Now, this history lesson in a tweet nutshell. Arthur Balfour, Britain's then Foreign Secretary, penned a letter in 1917 promising the Zionist movement a land where Palestinians made up 90% of the population. And from 1923 to 1948, about 25 years, a British mandate facilitated a flood of Jewish immigrants, many fleeing the horrors of Nazi Europe. This mandate basically said, Palestine, meet your new roommate, Israel. But remember, just remember, this is a super simplified version of the story. Now, it's a real head scratcher, right? What gave Britain the authority to hand out land like Oprah with her cars in her show? You've got a car, and you've got a car, and you've got a car. In this case, it would be you've got a land, you've got a land, and you've got a land. If you've got the backstory, drop it in the comments. I'm all ears. I would really, really love to know. Considering this tangled history, it begs the question, what's then the deal with William's statement? Shouldn't the royal family be like Switzerland, neutral and all that jazz? Well, your guess is as good as mine. As far as I know, the royal family is supposed to be the Switzerland of monarchy, neutral on matters of government and state. But then again, what do I know, right? What did William's statement say? William's statement said the Prince and Princess of Wales are profoundly distressed by the devastating events that have unfolded in the past days. Okay, so far so good. They went on to say the horrors inflicted by the Hamas terrorist attack on Israel are appalling and they utterly condemn them. As Israel exercises its right of self defense, all Israelis and Palestinians will continue to be stalked by grief, fear, and anger in the time to come. Oh my goodness. As Israel exercises its right of self defense, hoo-wee. It is clear that William will follow the most popular position. With this in mind, it is then not surprising that William's statement had a different tone entirely from Harry's. People often talk about how disappointed William is in Harry, but I don't think enough is said about how disappointed Harry must be in William. Harry's statement, in my view, aligns more closely with the neutral stance expected from the royal family. It was necessary for him, as a prominent figure engaged in humanitarian work, to clearly convey his position, especially given his interaction with world leaders and long term strategic goals in his work with the Invictus Games. It's essential to recognize that Harry and Meghan have positioned themselves as thought leaders in mental health, humanitarianism, and support for disabled servicemen, whether we like it or not. They are elite. It is their position to speak out on things happening on the global scale. Their opinions matter, and they wisely kept their statement concise, knowing it would face scrutiny. The issues at hand are indeed nuanced, requires thoughtful and objective consideration, even intelligence in some cases. Criticism is to be expected, but it's quite disheartening when it comes from fellow supporters, or shall we say fake supporters, as witnessed on Twitter. For instance, a supposed squaddy on Twitter not only criticized Harry and Meghan, but also threatened to involve the Murdoch group to amplify the criticism due to their statement. This escalation to bitterness and abuse is quite regrettable and is characteristic of a deranger, aka William supporters. However, a thoughtful response from another squaddy highlighted that Harry and Meghan are humanitarians, not heads of state, and they shouldn't be pressured into taking sides in the Israel Palestine conflict. They are driven by love and a desire to help those in need, whichever side of the fence the victim falls on. If the people of Israel and Palestine can organize a united march for peace against the war, which was probably bubbling up at the time before the news of it blew up on the global scale, please tell me why the rest of the world is not also allowed to focus on the humanitarian cost of war without criticism rather than the reason for the war in the first place. Harry and Meghan are not just talking the talk, they're also walking the walk. They put their principles into action. Harry and Meghan have partnered with organizations like the World Central Kitchen, providing meals to those affected by the violence. They have also supported Humanity Crew, helping establish mental health emergency rooms in Palestine, Israel, and Greece, including mental health first responder training and psychological support services for children and youth. I came across an article where they highlighted the fact that Harry's friend and a former Special Forces soldier is currently in Israel helping to get people out of Israel. What's that saying? Show me your friends and I'll show you who you are. Exactly. So, should Harry and Meghan have said anything? In my opinion, they had no choice but to say something. While they no longer represent the royal family, they've established themselves as global humanitarians through the Archewell Foundation, working in areas closely related to war and its consequences. That's the connection. Now, let's pivot a bit. When I spotted a photo of Harry and Meghan hanging with NATO service members, I must admit it gave me pause. It's not that I doubt their ability to handle complex situations, but navigating this international minefield must be trickier than a Rubik's Cube in the dark. So, guys, let's send some good vibes their way. And last but not the least, I'm sending out a prayer for some open heavens, showering abundant blessings upon them to do their humanitarian work without the headache of funding. Plus, a big old hedge of protection around them won't hurt. Neither would a session of speaking in tongues. I was a bit hesitant to wade into these deep waters at first, but I realized you don't need a PhD to have an opinion. So I thought to myself, educate yourself, voice your thoughts, and let's hope for a resolution for the sake of peace and the victims of this conflict. And just pray for the leaders to be able to work something out for the sake of peace and the victims of war. As for William, well, he's from a leading royal house, so his statement makes sense. But I can't help but wonder, should it have been more neutral? The jury's still out on that one. The media have received statements from both sides and are promoting their respective viewpoints. Of course, always leaning in the position of the royal family. But the whole world is watching, and Harry and Meghan know this. And so they've decided to be true to themselves and their brand and what they stand for. And I continue to be happy to see them following in the path they discovered for themselves, having done a deep dive into determining what their brand was going to be. Anyway, it's essential to question whether a leading royal should take a stance given the historical British involvement in this matter. I must say though, I quite like this tweet, which has this to say about Harry and Meghan's statement. Oh my god, this statement put the King and Prince of Wales statements to shame. It's neutral, offers help, and looks to the future. So, guys, please share your thoughts in the comments. But if you're feeling emotional, this is a public service announcement for everyone. If you're feeling emotional, remember to keep your comments civil. This video aims to provide insight for those interested in the issues beyond what's reported in the news. Regardless of your perspective, it's a somber day for all parties involved in this conflict, and our prayers go out to the victims on all sides. Until next time, take care. Bye. Bye. Still auditioning for that recording contract. Okay, take care. Bye.